RB26. As you know, whether it's an RB20, an RB25, or an RB26, it is an inline 6-cylinder engine. And it has a semi-counterweighted crankshaft in all of those. And unfortunately, when you start making a lot of power with something this long, you've got a lot of twisting moments coming in and coming out. And that causes some vibrations that come through the crankshaft. And many times, the victim of those oscillations and vibrations is that factory oil pump. It's a well-known fact that the oil pump gears in the RB oil pumps are actually made out of rock candy, apparently, because they crack just about as easily as that. But they are made out of some crap metal that just will fatigue at high RPM. And one of the ways you can prevent that, besides upgrading the pump, which we always recommend, is by using a real high quality damper on there to take a lot of those vibrations and torsional moments out of that equation, so it's not affecting that. Now, this is actually the one for the 2JZ. I don't have the RB1 here. It's so brand new that it didn't make it here in time. But to show you kind of a little bit the construction of it, as you notice on all of these are all SFI approved. If your car goes quicker than, I believe, 1199, you're always supposed to have an SFI damper on there. So make sure if you're buying an aftermarket damper, it is SFI approved. That makes it safe and makes it so it's not going to split out like the factory one can do. The factory one is essentially just a big hunk of mass on the outside and a mass on the inside with a rubber bonded layer here. And what happens, for one, there's not enough mass to take up all the things going on in the RB engine, but on top of that, this rubber breaks down over time and stops working as effectively. And now that these cars are 25, 30 years old, this is something that's not even, a thought about upgrading. It's a must-have upgrade. So instead of using that technology, the fluid dampeners actually use a viscous fluid. So in here, there's an actual ring inside of here that's basically surrounded by this fluid, and how that's able to vibrate and move in there, it absorbs and takes out that energy that's happening from that twisting moment going back and forth in the crankshaft. And it's pretty neat how they work. They're not specifically tuned to an exact RPM range. They can work across a real broad range based on the viscosity of that fluid and the amount of mass that they have in here. So it's a pretty neat product. And with any product, making sure you have any aftermarket balancer, even a factory balancer on there. One of the things you want to do, and we found out and seen over the years, is you want to make sure that that fit on the crank snap has that about 1,000 to 1,000 and a half worth of interference on here. Because if it's loose on there, it's not going to work. You'd have the best product in the world, but a loose balancer on the front snout of a crank isn't going to do anything. So you want to make sure you've got the right clearance there. If the machine shop that's doing your work can't do that, go to a different machine shop that can, and make sure that you have the right amount of interference on there. If you're doing something in your driveway, you should basically not be able to push the thing on. It should basically get on there barely started, and with anti-seize on this, it should be a pretty good fit to kind of get it on there. So ideally, you have the measuring tools. I know a lot of times people don't, but if you have any looseness on there at all, and if it's not a really tight bond, it's not going to work well. So something to consider, new products from Fluidampr. If you want to find out more, make sure you check out their website. They have a lot of different applications for the import applications out there. And of course, if you are an RB fan, RB20 now, RB25, RB25 Neo, they've got the solution for you. Good luck.